So the place to start is to ask the question, when I get by a position, when I get by a situation, are you trying to start a business? Ask yourself, what is this supposed to be? Are you trying a relationship? Ask yourself, what is this supposed to be? Are you going through a struggle in a marriage? Ask yourself, what is this supposed to be? Are you going through a health challenge? Ask yourself, what is this supposed to be? When you ask that question and you begin to seek answers to those questions, things becomes clearer. It begins to get clearer. Sometimes we think we know things, but unfortunately, what we know no longer exists. Take for example, when we were in secondary school in mathematics class, we used slide rule. I'm sure so many of you online used the slide rule and the 4-figure table. I was lazy with the 4-figure table. I prefer the slide rule. So when my children started using calculator in school, I said, no, you can't. 4-figure table, that's what you should use. They said, no, we are allowed. So what we think we know no longer exists. And if we hold on to what we think we know, which does not exist anymore, then we are outdated. And when you have outdated information, it leads to paralysis. It can paralyze you socially. It can paralyze you economically. It can paralyze you spiritually. When you are out of step, when you are out of date with reality, when you are out of step and out of date with things that are on spot, it can lead to paralysis. There is always a need for us to humble ourselves in learning. And humbling ourselves in learning means I should be ready to throw off some things that I thought I knew. It will be foolish of me today to want to do a calculation and go and take a 4-figure table. I've thrown that out. I can't do it anymore. You can see the way education has evolved. So what are they going to use to hold people from teaching now? If education had to be the way it was when we were in school. There are so many avenues by which they can beat the system. So the system also had to evolve with technology and with time. So we should be humble to unlearn and relearn and to keep learning. We need to get to that state of humility as adults or as individuals. And I want you to also understand tonight that what you have learned is who you are. You can't be different from what you have learned. Because what you have learned is what gives meaning to you. What you have learned is what controls your behavior. And when I speak of learning here, it means something you learn and you live by. It becomes your code. It becomes the code by which your DNA is wrapped in. And so that's why we cannot be too different from what we have learned. Because that's what controls our behavior. So if behaviors must be modified, what do we have to do? We need to unlearn, relearn, and learn new things for behaviors to be modified. You cannot tell a thief, stop stealing, and all he has been used to is someone who grew up among thieves, who does not see any reason in walking, who feel people who are working 8 to 6 p.m. are stupid because they are serving somebody, and who feels that he has what it takes to walk into your house or get into your account and clear your account, like all these boys who are living large and riding about in private jets. You tell such a person, stealing is not good. Living a life of fraud is not good. He cannot understand that behavior cannot change until he comes to himself and agrees that he wants to learn something new. This art of stealing that I've learned is really not good. For A, B, C, D reasons. Okay, I have my fears. If I should stop this, then what will I be doing? And if he can get a salvation or something that can lead him into another life, then that behavior will be modified. It's because somebody has schooled him. And I doubt if many of us are actually schooling others to modify their behaviors. I think most times we are vindictive because we hate what people do. We hate how they do it. So we want to get back at them. But most times what they need is someone who will come into their lives, who will educate them for their behaviors to be modified. Because where there is understanding, it's easy to move on. So still talking about thinking as I begin to round up, and after this we'll get into group discussion, and then we'll come back and then I will finish up. How do you think? It's a question I'm putting to you. Since you have grown up, how have you been thinking?